fancy meeting you here.
I'm Jill.
I'm Steph.
And we are
the Bantering Banshees.
Banshees.
Oh, my Lanta.
This is horrible.
Oh.
So tonight we are joined. This is horrible with us not being next to each other because I feel like we are going to flub.
So, Keith, just to give you a quick little heads up, we always and have for the 25 episodes we have always recorded next to each other. This is the first time that we are recording separately. So it's pretty much like a baby gazelle figuring out how to walk. So please bear with us. We appreciate your cooperation.
All
right, Jilly. So here we are. Tell them why we're here.
Tonight, we are joined by the legendary rock and roll ghost hunter with over 30 years in the field, founder of the... 50.
Almost 50, yeah.
Almost 50 now.
Correct. Oh, wait. We just had an actually segment.
We actually
just had a live actually. Now you guys know where that comes from. No, actually 50 years.
Yeah, almost 50 years.
Almost, sir.
Founder of the Louisville Ghost Hunters Society and host of the Booth Brothers Spooked TV why can't I say that? Documentaries. Like Ghosts of Waverly Hills and Children of the Grave, he's investigated some of the most haunted places on Earth. We're beyond excited to welcome him to the show. Welcome to the show, Keith Age.
Keith Age.
Thank you, guys. Great.
Thank you, sir. My goodness.
Nice to be here.
All right, so I figured we would start with, the normal question. Why did you get into the paranormal?
What brought the desire, the interest?
I've always liked horror stuff and things like that, but my main thing was music. And when I was 10 years old, I started learning how to play guitars. And by the time I was 16, I was on the road all over the world playing music. And
really?
First big band job I had was with Ted Nugent.
My Lanta.
Yeah,
wow.
Do you know who the Kentucky Headhunters are?
No.
Unfortunately, I can't say I do. No.
Well, they're also from Kentucky. They're big. They're considered royalty here in Kentucky. We all grew up together playing music, different places together and everything. So, I've got to play with a lot of good people through the years, and it's been fun. So anyway, played for a year and a half, come back. I met this young lady, and on her 17th birthday, her mom and dad asked me to come over for a surprise party. Now, I already knew that this young lady did not invite me over because I figured this is the 70s. I had hair down past my butt, full beard, leather everything, brand new Camaro, so I figured, mom and dad will really freak out if they see me.
It doesn't sound all that bad to me.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, you're checking some boxes.
I like the glass. So anyway, I go over there for this surprise party, and she answers the door, and her eyes and her face is just like, oh my God. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Your mom and dad invited me. And she goes, no, you don't understand. I said, what? She says, we have a ghost in the house, and he doesn't like mine or my sister's boyfriends. And I was like, yeah, let's go smoke another one. Okay.
That is an introduction if I've ever heard one. Yeah.
Oh
So,
my god.
and this was just a little house that was built in the 40s. It was the first house in the neighborhood. The construction guy who owned all the project, this is the first house he built for him and his wife. And I didn't find it out till later, but it's just a little ranch house, a little 3 bedroom house. And we sat on the couch. Her dad sat right over here in the lazy boy, and I could see down the hallway to the main bedroom. And I could see our reflection in a mirror. Something kept walking past this thing. So I got up and went and looked, tore the room apart. Nothing, nothing under the bed, nothing in the closet, nothing in the bathroom. And this kept going on. And my girlfriend, Tom, she's like, "I'm telling you, it's the ghost. He's checking you out." And I was like, "I don't believe this. Something else is going on." So me being young, dumb, and stupid, called this thing out for
I
like
mean,
four.
we didn't say it, he did.
Yeah. So for 4 hours, I'm saying, "Come on, do something. Show me you're real. I don't believe in you. Prove to me." So at the end of the night, I went to kiss her goodnight. We were in the living room at the front door. And as I bent down to kiss her, something went hard on my arm.
Oh.
Now, I'm 17, almost 18 at this point. I was a professional fighter. I was still fighting at the time. I was in great shape. I was a heavyweight. And I could not pull my arm free. First thing I thought was, "Oh hell, Dad's got a hold of me." But
Yeah.
I could see Dad sitting over in the chair, and his eyes are like this. And before I could say anything, I felt myself go forward and then go back hard. And I went through the front door, through the screen door, and I landed about 6 feet out in the front yard. And I remember laying there trying to get my breath because it just knocked all the air out of me. And I was going fingers, toes, legs, what's working, what's not. And she's screaming and all this other. And I said a few choice words I'm not going to repeat, but I thought that was so cool. Do it again.
This is a safe place. You can absolutely repeat those words. Don't you worry.
So that's what got me started into it. A really violent episode. And like I was saying earlier before Steph came on, I was doing this back when, if you said you were hunting ghosts, you had the guys in little white jackets with the great big nets running behind you.
Yeah.
And but it started growing. Like I said, that was late 70s,
Mhm.
and it didn't really start really catching on till the 90s, and then I started doing lecturings and things like that, and about the early 2000s, uh, Ghost Hunters came on 2004, and it just exploded. And then we came on 2005.
Wow.
So then there was actually a time where you didn't necessarily believe up until that interaction that night.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I
Okay.
said, I loved horror stories and horror movies and things like that, but I never thought I
Yeah.
was going to be chasing ghosts or
Or
ectoplasmic myths.
that there was something to chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear all those stories. If you went back to the libraries back then, you would find books on UFOs,
Mhm.
Bigfoot, haunted tales, but
Yeah.
it was very difficult to find books on ghost hunting. You might find a book by Bruck or what's his face, Hans Holzer, but that was it. And you're lucky if you found it. And so everything I learned, I was doing on my own and trying to figure it out.
Man.
Wow. Awesome. I mean, that's you did the grunt work.
Yeah, literally.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You were like, so this is how we're gonna do it.
No, I was like, what the hell do I do now?
Oh
You know,
my gosh.
Right. With that interaction, you're like, what outlet do I have? Where do I
there were none, nothing.
Right.
You just try to figure it out and go from there.
Exactly.
One of the first things I did was, and God, 35 millimeter film was so expensive back then, and reel to reel, trying to carry all this really big, heavy, gargantuan equipment, and but one of the
Jill,
first
this
things
is
I did,
archaic.
yeah, well, like I said, see, you said I was old. Thank you very much. Uh,
At least I didn't.
Nicest way.
yeah,
Remember 50 years?
yeah.
Right?
I didn't say Cro-Magnon days, okay? But
Okay, touche. Yes, you got me there. You got me.
uh, but one of the things I did, this woman was saying she had wooden floors, and she says this thing keeps walking down the hallway every night. So I got a bag of flour and just went.
Oh, I love a good flower footprint. Who
Yeah.
doesn't?
Well, this was the '80s,
Right. But
so
Oh
you
my
know,
it's such a good way to try and prove or disprove something.
yeah, yeah. But the cleanup is hell.
Oh yeah, yeah. No.
She's like, yeah, you're going to clean all that up.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. You better come with a Dustbuster 3000.
They
'Cause
didn't make them back then.
God bless you. You had to sweep like a son of a bitch.
She's like,
Oh
here's your
no.
witch's broom. Have fun.
But and like I said, you used 110 cameras, three 350 millimeter, just or 35 millimeter, and it was just so expensive to do that stuff back then. And if you wanted to get infrared film, oh my God, $100 for 8 shots,
Yeah, I can't even
Oh.
imagine what that
and then
cost.
another $35 to get it developed.
Oh
Right.
my gosh.
And that's the thing. It's like we also forget that y'all had to develop the film. It wasn't just like
You couldn't just go on your
today.
camera and be like, oh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You guys couldn't scroll through. And that is, I will say, one of my personal favorite advancements in technology is the fact that we get to take as many photos as we want in as rapid succession as we want, and then be like, okay, let's see what we found.
As long as your SD card holds out, you're good.
True.
Well, yeah, I mean, there definitely has to be some level of, deletion.
Yeah,
But
and we were talking about orbs. I am not an orb person at all, and because 99.9% of the time it's something natural,
Mhm.
and out of all the pictures I've taken, which probably hundreds of thousands of stuff, I'll tell you there's only one orb picture I've got that I can't explain, and
fair.
it doesn't look like an orb. Actually, it looks like a bell, and it's lit
Huh.
up. It's lit up and lighting up the area around us.
Okay, yeah, then that'll
Oh.
cause a question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
I will tell you, my experience with orbs is not photo, it's video. My son's birthday happens to be Halloween,
cool.
and his father and I noticed the first year he was born. So it wasn't like right around the time it was coming up on his first birthday, beginning of October. And his father is not a believer in any means, but I was working second shift, and he would call me and say, there are things floating around his room on the baby monitor. So this is a video feed. And he would go up and he would turn the light on, and there didn't seem to be anything in there. And this would happen only throughout the month of October. And then moving on through the year, there would be less and less things showing up on the baby monitor.
Yeah.
And then coming around to October the following year, there would be almost an increase. And we had moved houses, like this wasn't all done in the same room. And it obviously we stopped, putting a baby monitor on him, and like by the time he was 3. But I just always thought it was so interesting, the time of year, the correlation to the theory of the veil getting thinner.
You know
Me
the one,
being,
the one thing that I'm interested in
mm,
that you said, it was only happening during that period of time,
yes.
and then nothing else through the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You know,
it would go on through probably most of it would go into November, and then it would lessen, but it would almost like start and then peter out and then stop. But yeah, the consistency was definitely through the month of October.
yeah. The first thing I would ask is, when did you turn your heater on? You know,
Um,
no, I'm just saying, if we were investigating it,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but then if it stops during mid-November, which is one of the coldest months of the year, I'm like,
mhm.
did you turn your heater off? You know, and I'd look for a natural reason first. I don't get up here and just go, oh, look at that,
Oh,
oh,
absolutely.
or did you hear that? You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm a firm believer in, if you go into a place thinking it's haunted, you're going to find something and a reason for it to be haunted. And to give you an example, um, here in Louisville, there's what's called Old Louisville, and I went to this house and brought a bunch of people with me because they said it's a huge house, 4 floors, and I used to bring just people who were interested, but I'd never really met them before. So these guy and this girl show up. We walk in this house, and it looks like you just walked into the Munsters. You know, there's
Awesome.
yeah, I mean, there's the staircase right in front of you, a little hallway going back to the kitchen. Over to the left is the parlor, and they're remodeling, so it looks really wild.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this girl had been so psyched up to get there and go do this. She was just way over the top excited. So the wife, we walk in. She said, "Do you want to meet my husband? He's back here in the kitchen." So I was like, "Sure." So as we're walking down this hallway, I'm hearing a walk, walk, walk noise, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" And as I get to the kitchen, little big doorway, I freeze in my tracks because I'm seeing blood, gore, guts flying in the air. Well, all these people are jamming into me trying to see what's going on. Next thing I hear is a scream. I hear, running down the hallway. I hear the door slam, and then I hear screeching tires. This girl was so hyped up that she had in her head that this is, Satan's hollow here or something. And all it was he was gutting a deer in the kitchen with a hand axe. But in her mind, you know, Satan had come to claim everybody.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so
Well then.
yeah, and she ended up in the hospital from being run out in front of a car, and she was that
Oh
scared.
God.
Yeah, so
Oh.
that was the last time I took people I didn't know with me.
Well, that took a turn, Keith.
Oh my
Oh yeah,
gosh.
but the point I'm trying to make is, what you have in your head. That is a lot. Fear, adrenaline, and paranoia go a long way to making a ghost appear,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
and that's exactly what she did.
Wow.
I know I
Well,
took the long
yeah.
way around the barn, but
No, 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 that's
It
okay.
was
Have
very
you
interesting.
clearly you've never listened to us because we love to skirt around a question and then, oh yeah, we'll come back to it eventually.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we hear ya. So hearing the clear stances you have on kind of like shows and interpretations like that, what kind of changed since you started investigating?
Everybody wants to be famous and they think they're going to get rich.
Okay, well, that was a rapid response.
He's like, I already knew that one.
Jill, on to you, my dear.
You know, I didn't. People go, well, you've had TV shows. I'm like, so what? I wasn't trying to get on TV. I just right place, right time.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with the Booth brothers, they came to Waverly Hills to make an independent horror film. Nothing
Okay.
about ghosts, nothing, period.
So they just chose the location. It had nothing to do with the history of it.
Right.
Got it.
Other than the death tunnel.
Gotcha.
That was it.
Okay.
The body shoot?
Yeah, it's called the death tunnel. Hey, it's 485 feet down, 485 feet back up.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm absolutely terrified of it. But the amount of times that I've seen it in shows, documentaries, this, that, and the other, I am morbidly curious.
Well, when I first started all the tours that they do now, and I'm the one that did start them.
Yes, thank you. By the way, thank you for that.
When we get the drunks, people that were totally intoxicated, and I really didn't want to deal with them, we'd let them walk all the way down
Good.
and then walk all the way back up.
Good for you. I would too.
And then by the time they got all the way back up, they were pretty much sober.
Stone sober. Yeah, I would have to say they would be.
Well, and you hear this, I slid down the body chute, and I'm like, really? Did you tear your ass up? And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, there's a cleat, a metal cleat that's still there every 15 feet down that ramp. And they're like, I didn't see it. I said, well, then you must
Your
have
ass sure did.
Yeah. And they're like, well, what's it doing there? I said, because it wasn't a slide.
What's it doing there? Its purpose?
Its purpose is it was part of the electric pulley system that they did put the bodies on that went up and down.
Yeah, no,
they didn't just take a body and go, phew.
Yeah, no, they probably did. They probably thought they had like a slide and they just had they just let it go from the top and then there was a pillow at the bottom to soften the blow.
Yeah, it is an incline, a cement incline from the top all the way down.
Yes.
But like I said, every 15 feet there's a metal cleat and they are still there,
That's incredible because I feel like the amount of footage that I've seen in the shows I've seen, that has never been.
No, you see the steps going down, and
you see the steps going down. You see the incline that they showed that of the chute, but you don't ever hear anybody mention oh yeah, and by the way, these brackets are still here. These cleats are still here.
They don't talk about that.
Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah.
So,
my goodness.
What made you decide to found the Louisville Ghost Hunter Society?
Well, I founded it in 1996. And that's because as I was getting my name out there, people were coming to me and saying, hey, can we go do this with you? And, and I'm like, look, okay, fine. But, this is how. Do what?
That's us right now. Hi.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but this is how I do it. And it started, at one time I had over 10,000 members. And yeah, and it became crazy. And then in 2000, when Tina and Charlie bought the place, I made a deal with them to let us investigate it. We'll help you clean it up. Because at that time, Waverly had been just totally destroyed. All the copper had been pulled out of the building by kids. Every sink and toilet except one had been busted. And the vandalism was just tragic. All the windows were busted. And you had about 3.5 feet of dirt and debris and leaves and garbage in every hallway.
Wow.
I
And
do remember unfortunately, I do remember seeing Tina in a lot of the shows and the investigations, and she talked about how the place was just absolutely almost condemned before they got to it.
yeah, it almost was. The
Yeah.
previous owner, the previous owner had actually dug out places underneath it 30 feet deep, trying to make it collapse. And he figured, well, if I can make it collapse, I can bulldoze it and put apartments up here. But it didn't fall down. But you could see the limestone blocks this thing sits
Wow.
on. Yeah. Yeah, so he wanted to put the world's tallest statue of Jesus Christ up there.
Oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
I'm not kidding. That's true. He
that's
tore
not
down
funny, but it is.
he tore down every other building. The nurses' housing, which was over south of the main hospital, and that's
Hmm.
actually the third hospital that was up there, named Waverly Hills.
Huh.
And he did his best to destroy the place, and then several other people bought it after him, and then the Manningleys finally got it in 2000.
Wow.
Oh, word. So, um, what
Take a
what
breath.
what was one of the earliest investigations that you did that really convinced you?
Other than the first.
Other than the one you already told us about, like what was the one that like solidified it for you that this was something you really wanted to pursue?
Well, like I said, at that point I was already hooked, and Waverly had so many tales, and we were kind of debunking them as we went along. But what doors were left would open and close on their own sometimes. In the fourth floor operating room, we went and turned on a light switch. Now, there's been no power up there since 1981. This is 2001. And we turned the switch on, and electric sparks just flew everywhere. And no capacitor that's known to man can hold a charge like that for 20 years.
Yeah.
And just little things like that were just really interesting. Uh, but what got me the most was after we cleaned it up, when it rained, it leaked like a sieve all the way from the roof all the way to the first floor. And in those those puddles, you would see footprints coming out of those puddles. And we're like, what? And then there'd be barefoot footprints, socked footprints, hard sole shoe footprints. Now
Wow.
nobody wears hard sole shoes anymore,
No.
but who did back then? Nurses and doctors, they
I was
all
gonna
wore
say
hard sole
doctors,
shoes.
I think.
Yeah. So
Wow.
we started doing experiments on it where there'd be 10 sets of tracks coming out of it, and I'd have people walk through it right next to it. Our tracks would go on, those would stop, and then we'd do thermal tests on it, and those footprints would be 10 to 15 degrees colder than ours were, and they would last longer than ours would. It'd take them 3 times longer to dissipate than ours would. So that's what really started getting me going. And then the shadow people stuff, that was just so intriguing to me, especially on the fourth floor. If you just sit there, we found that and this is something you can do, when you go up on the fourth floor, just look down the hallway, drop your eyes to the ground, let your peripheral vision pervade
Do
the
the work.
whole, yeah. Don't look up, don't try to track it, don't try to see, if you see something, don't try to go, what the hell was that? Just watch it. And you'll see things going moving in and out of the doorways. And there's actually, and here's the part I'm telling you with this
I'm
little side.
terrified and excited in the same breath. Oh my god.
All right, when you're a ghost hunter, you have to learn a little bit about everything. Okay, from carpentry to construction to optometry, to just a lot of different things. So, where do you see the color black in your eyes?
In the middle?
No, you see the color black in your peripheral vision. That is why I think a lot of people go, I saw a shadow person, and when I would look at it, it went away. Well, because you're trying to track it, and now you're looking at it with all your focus.
Ah, okay.
I
Okay?
did not know that. That
That makes a
makes
lot of sense.
so
Yeah.
much sense to why people are like, "Oh, I saw it," and then they look up and it's not there.
Yeah. And, cameras have gotten so much more developed than what they were when I first started. We filmed an episode of Creepy Canada up there after we shot Spooked. And that is the only time that I know of that Big Black's ever been caught on film.
Huh.
And Big Black is just the hallway goes black and it'll rush you. And
Oh no,
oh yeah, and
no,
then we
thank
got
you.
we think we got part of the creeper on there too. But you know, just the learning part when you start learning about the history and then things that are, oh, this supposedly happened, that happened, and you go, no, it didn't. It happened this way. And but I can understand why it's been told that way now because you tell Jill that, hey, the sky is blue. By the time she goes through 20 people and gets to you're it's now pink.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it gets blown out of proportion and everything. And it's just from the tales. Um, you know, a lot of the history there are documented things that did happen, but not in the way that you hear. Oh, did you hear about this? Well, it didn't. There was never any women chained to the wall in the basement of Waverly. First of all, Waverly does not have a basement. It has some underground compartments for maintenance and stuff like that.
And
And then,
apparently, some 30-foot holes that tried to collapse it.
well, they got filled in.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
thank gosh.
When the Mattinglys took it over, all they got filled in. Charlie Mattingly has really worked his ass off. There's part of the West Wing now is thermal geographic, heating and air, and or the
Wow.
South Wing. I'm sorry, and or Southwest Wing. But like I said, I left in 2005 because I couldn't do it anymore uh, because it came a full time job and I wasn't getting
Mhm.
paid to do anything up there. And then, like I said, our show hit, and then I started going doing the convention circuit, and I couldn't be everywhere at once, so I
Or
left. And then I telling Jill, I went back last year for the first time in 20 years for an event that Rick Hayes had, my buddy, and he said, I'd really like you to be here for this. So I got to see the thermal geographic areas and all this other stuff. So, like I said, Charlie's really worked his tail off
Oh,
on that.
that's cool.
oh my god, that's so exciting.
But if you go, you got thermal.
No, we don't. Not
We
yet.
want one really bad.
Yeah, that's on our Christmas list.
Hmm.
Well, before you go to Harbor Freight. You can get one for about $120.
Oh, well, that's going on my Christmas list.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, noted.
Oh, I love
Really?
Harbor Freight.
yeah,
I did
yeah,
too. What?
yeah. I mean, it's not a FLIR, but it is thermal.
Yeah, you don't need a FLIR. It's
Well, FLIR is top of the line. That's who created the whole
Yeah.
scientific edge of it. And do you know why they created it?
but we can't get a FLIR.
Why?
So we'll,
They
we'll take
created it.
Harbor Fleet.
There you go. They created forward-looking infrared for the Vietnam War.
Oh.
Oh,
That
Huh.
was that was its practical purpose.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
Wow.
then
wow.
and then after the war, they started using it for other purposes, especially like firefighting, and the police started trying to
Yeah.
find people that they
Yeah.
don't know where they're at.
Huh.
Wow.
So with all the time that you've spent at Waverly, is there anything that's ever happened to you or that you've experienced that other people don't know about?
Well, a lot of people know about it. People talk about the guy getting hit in the head with the bricks. Well,
Yeah.
that's me. That's me.
I was gonna say I saw that on your episode, the spooked episode.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had over 20 stitches from things popping me in the head. And
Oh my!
it's not bricks. Waverly is made out of cement uh, and very little wood and very little plaster. The plaster they used back then was cement and horsehair. And there's a lot of debris of that where it's just falling off the walls. And that's what would come flying down the hallway at you.
Oh
Flying
man.
down the hallway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
And in 2005, my last day up there, I was live with Fox News, who was broadcasting live. And the interview and I walk out of a door from the fourth floor into the hallway. It's broad daylight. And of course, the camera's set up right in front of us. And we got cues we got to stand to. And he's going to ask me questions. And as we're standing there, you can see from the wall behind me, this hunk of plaster, cement just comes flying off and hits me in the back of the head and just knocks me straight down. And
oh my gosh!
and this interviewer, he's now screaming down the hallway, running, and the
Yeah, I
cam
would too. I'd be
the,
right behind him.
the cameraman, and I can barely remember. I was really, I mean, it hit me hard, but the cameraman's going, "Come on, keep talking," and
Oh
and
my
and,
gosh.
I'm going, you know, and my group, the Louisville Ghost Hunters that were up there with me, they're not trying to help me. They're trying to piece this thing back together on the wall, going, that came straight across, not down. That went straight across. And I'm like going, oh man. So finally got the interviewer back, and like I said, that was the last day I was there. But I guess Waverly was saying goodbye.
Yeah, it was telling you like
Wow.
sayonara.
Now here, next time, if have you ever watched Death Tunnel, the Booth Brothers Death
No.
Tunnel? When you
Wow.
do, when you do watch it, and you hear the EVPs,
Mm-hmm.
the coughing, the gasping, the I can't breathe, those are real EVPs. They're not studio made,
Wow. I
and
can't.
and and that's what happened to them. Real things started happening to them, and that's when they came to me because I was already just, somebody on the set that's giving them information, and they
Mm-hmm.
said, "What the heck's going on?" So I said, the very first thing they brought to me. Do you know what dailies are? Any?
No.
Okay, dailies are what they shot the day before, and then that's first thing you do the next day. You watch them.
Okay.
Well, the scene where and nobody write in or scream about this, but in independent horror films, you got to have what I call big boob blonde in the shower scene. That's just you
Yeah,
got to you got to
You
have it.
have to.
you
Yeah.
have to.
All
Mm-hmm.
right.
It needs to be a sacrifice.
Right. So this poor actress, they about drowned her. They shot it 29 times, and that's because
Oh shit.
yeah, something black kept coming in from either side, and I wasn't there when they were filming it. I got there the next morning, and they were going, "Okay, what's this?" And I looked at it, and I was like, she's here lathering up, and the camera's right in front of her, and you see this black thing just come in and stop, and either go back the way it came or go around across. And like I said, they shot it 29 times thinking it's something mechanical, it's something
Right.
they kept trying
It's
to fix it.
lighting. It's yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't. So finally, Philip Booth, in his best British accent, goes, "What is that, mate?" And I said, "Well, welcome to my world, it's a shadow person." And he goes, "Well, what's he doing in my shot, mate?" And I just looked at him and I said, "I guess he liked the view."
I
He's
mean,
like, whoa, it's been a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's like,
So
I'm just going to saddle up over here.
yeah. So if you watch Death Tunnel, you'll see all this stuff, and that's what started the whole spook thing. Death Tunnel was supposed to go boom, Halloween and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
actual location of a haunted place, and instead it just kind of went and nobody bought it, and then Sony bought it and they sat on it for 7 years, and then Universal bought Spooked, and it went bang.
Yes. It's all a money game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why we did so many different documentaries for Sci-Fi Channel.
And speaking of the Booth brothers, you have quite a history of documentaries with them.
Oh
Um,
yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
so which would you say? I mean, because it ranges from the Ghost of Waverly Hills, you've got the Possessed, the Haunted Boy. Which would you say really emotionally kind of taxed you the most?
Children of the Grave 2.
Okay.
Two. Okay. Why two?
Because we caught things that and Universal said no, you can't put that in. They did that a lot, especially like at the Haunted Boy at the Exorcist original house. What we caught, they said no one will really believe this. You can't put it in. So what we caught at Ashmore Estates, which was really cool, and I still go there. We caught the audio of what sounds like a rape thing going on,
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, thank you.
and didn't see it. We saw flashes on the thermal, but just the audio, and we're like going, "Oh my god!" And just listening to the stories about how people, this was a poor farm. That's what it started out as, and then it became a crazy thing, and then as they cut the cornfield down behind it, you start seeing the graves of where people were actually buried in this field, and
Oh no.
just the stories, and Children of the Grave 1, the orphan trains was really really powerfully impactful,
Mm-hmm.
and 'cause
I can imagine.
I had never heard of that before, and I love history, and then started going through all this documentation about it and everything. The Possessed, when we went to Monroe, Indiana, uh, that was pretty cool. For at Whispers Estate, the things we caught, and just the history. And one of the cool things, years later, I was doing an investigation there, and money starts dropping from the ceiling. Just and we
That's
caught it
my
all.
dream. What?
Yeah, yeah. And so if you if you go look for the movie called "If the Walls Could Talk" by my partner J.C. Rosita, uh, you'll see
I
it,
don't know.
and it's on Prime. So there's
I've probably seen
that.
it mentioned on my videos.
so so anyway, like I said, you're not always going to get Satan tap dancing on table. It's going to be weird little things that you go, that's cool, that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome, that's why you're doing this. If you're in it to get rich, I hate to
You're
tell
in the
you this.
wrong profession.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I hate to tell you this, but paranormal pay sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
yeah.
you
The
know,
dead can't pay. So
well, it's not only that. The these companies that buy this stuff, they're like going, they're not real actors. We don't have to pay them nothing.
oh,
And
I'm sure. Yeah.
they're not in SAG AFTRA, the union. We're not paying them nothing. And that's just like one of my favorite shows that's out there now is Paranormal Caught on Film. My buddy Brian is on it, and people send their videos in, and some of them are pretty interesting. Others, you go, "Are you nuts?" Uh,
Yeah.
you can see where they're just going, "Oh my God, look what I caught! Look what I caught!"
Yeah. There's always going to be that
Yeah,
person.
yeah. Put my name up there. Put my name up there. And
Exactly.
and now they own your evidence in perpetuity. That's what you sign away when you put it on TV like that. One of the very cool things with the Booth Brothers was right up front. I said, "Look, not everything is paranormal, and if I can get up here and prove to you what it really is, we say that." And that's what they did. They kept their word for every movie we made.
And I
That's
feel like that's
awesome.
how Ghost Hunters started. Like, when I first remember watching it when I was younger, like Jason Hawes, it
Mm-hmm.
was like pulling teeth to get him to say that there was a place that was quote unquote haunted. He would say things like, oh, there might be something here, but we can't prove it, this, that, and the other. And then flash forward a few years, and it was like every single place they walked into
Mhm.
Well,
was like poltergeist haunted. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, no, we've lost it.
Well, when the companies have a ratings cow, they
Yep.
milk it. They milk it.
Yeah.
Um, that's why at the beginning of every show, there's that little disclaimer saying this is for entertainment purposes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I don't
Yeah.
like that disclaimer. I want it to all be true.
well,
Otherwise, don't put it on TV.
but you're gonna watch it. That's the whole thing. Um,
Of course I am.
here, I'll take you back. Go back to Ghost Hunters, the very first season.
Yep.
After every at the end of every show, Jason asks Grant where you want to go next.
Yep.
The very last episode, he asks him where you want to go next. He says Waverly Hills. All right, and then Jason says, "Okay, I'll call the Rock and Roll Ghost Hunter."
Oh, now I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Shut
I'm gonna be like, we know him.
Because
Oh my gosh.
we've all been friends for 25, 30 years.
Oh,
You know,
shut the
Oh,
front door.
oh my gosh.
Gosh.
I am I was such a fangirl of theirs. I took a picture in front of their building, like when it wasn't even open. Taps was the my outlet when I was that age. Because all the other shows I watched, they only came out during Halloween season.
right?
Real Scary Stories, Scariest Places on Earth, like things like that. So being able to watch Ghost Hunters all year long just fed
Well,
my
that's why
obsession with the
that's why
paranormal.
the second season, the first episode is Waverly Hills,
I'm
and
going
then
to watch
Oh.
that
and
once we're
then
done with this.
and
Just saying.
then once Sci-Fi aired that, then they aired Spooked for the first time,
Oh
and
my. They were like, we know what we're doing.
yeah,
They're like, hey, hook, line, and sinker. Let's keep
yeah,
going with this.
yeah. So, but what was cool was me and the Booth brothers did not even think. We just thought, okay, great, Universal's bought it. After it aired, the next day they called and said, "What else you got?" And we're going, And Chris Booth calls me. He says, "What else is hot and cool?" And I was like, "Children Ghosts." He's like,
Yeah.
"I love it." So, Children of the Grave was the next one, and originally the title was Creepy Kids with a K, and Universal went,
Yeah, I don't know if that one. I don't know if that one would have taken as well. I think Children of the Grave is a real grabber.
Yeah. Well, then we had to fight Black Sabbath because they had a song called Children of the Grave. But then luckily the lawyers all went, this is a different format. That's music. This is movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole nother thing. Uh, that I can tell you about a lot. Um, when you sign on to some of these projects and you are contractually committed to a company, you have to sign a morals clause contract. And with Universal, that morals clause was about that thick.
Oh.
You
You know,
didn't read every
you,
page.
you,
Who would?
you couldn't drink, you couldn't be seen smoking, just all this other stuff. Um, and I constantly got hauled up to New York to be reamed out about stuff, and and then
You're a
when
kind
my
of guy, Keith.
when my contract ended, my agent says, "You know, your contract ends in like 2 weeks." I was like, "Okay, that's fine. If they're not going to offer me anything, I don't care. This isn't what I want to do. Music is my first love." So, and I had plenty to do with Louisville Ghost Hunters. So I forget which one aired, and they hauled me up to New York, and my contract had just ended, expired like 3 days before that. And they're yelling because there was pictures put up on the internet of me riding a motorcycle and full leather and everything, and they're like going, "We don't want that image put out." Da, 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 da. I let them go, let them go, let them go, and I said, "How many movies have I made for you all?" And they said, 4, 5. I said, "Try 10. I have made 10 movies for you. Have you not taken a real good look at me? I am a biker. You know, I'm
And
standing here.
honestly, you being pictured in all leather, you're showing the safety of wearing leather while riding. Like, so
Yeah.
shame on them.
Well, I was also in the middle of a bunch of Hell's Angels.
All
So,
right, we're Jill, you're just gonna cut that section out. We're just gonna go with the all leather.
Yeah,
Go
we're
ahead,
gonna be
yeah.
like, he was
So,
safety.
yeah.
with
So,
angel wings on.
so they're still going on and on and on. Just reading me the riot act, and I finally said, "Y'all do know my contract ended 3 days ago." And they went, "Huh?" They went, "Huh?"
They were
And
like, no.
I said, "So unless you're planning on signing the contract again, thanks for the trip to New York, and I'll be getting on a plane tomorrow."
Take care now. Bye bye then.
Yep.
Man.
And but those are things that people don't realize you've got to deal with. It's a corporation,
Mm-hmm.
and these are big corporations. I mean, me and Jason and Grant, uh, Chris Fleming, and I think Chip Coffey, we got pulled in by
Oh,
the Secret Service. This was in the early 2000s because somebody had made a threat against President Bush, but they also made a threat against all of us, and they'd photoshopped our heads on pikes in a graveyard with blood running
Oh,
down them. So we got drawn into all that crap too, and it's just crazy.
holy crap.
what in the world?
Oh, there's a whole nother side nobody really sees.
Oh no,
Dang.
I'm sure, but like cheese and rice.
So during every investigation you've ever been on, was there ever a moment that was so absolutely terrifying that it made you question walking away?
First of all, I am a musician from the '70s. I don't have very many brain cells left to be scared. My first thought when something happens, I go, "Ooh, cool," and I go forward.
Ooh, cool.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, I want that mentality so bad.
you know. Uh, One of the best things that I've caught on in evidence was at Rhodes Hotel in Atlanta, Indiana. Had the place to myself, me and my wife, and I had the keys to the place, locked it up. She and I was staying in the old madam's room. All right, just me and her there. All the doors, the locking mechanisms are gone. So you got a round hole with a square shank on these, door handles,
Mm-hmm.
No,
doorknobs. So when
no.
you turn the doorknob, that square shank and that round hole goes clunk, 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 clunk.
Yep.
All right. The only thing that's locking this door is a slide bolt, 6-inch slide bolt. All right. We're laying in bed talking. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden the doorknob starts turning. You hear this clunk, 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 clunk. And I'm like, okay. And then while we're looking at the door between us, there's this hideous laugh, on the bed. And she looks at me and I look at her and I'm like, where's my digital recorder? She's over on the dresser. And I went, Would you? Should I ain't getting out of bed? Nope. She's like, my feet are not touching the ground. She says, I can just swear I can feel if I put my feet down, something's going to grab me from under the bed.
Oh my God, that's my worst
Oh,
fear.
So, so I'm like, okay, and we're talking a little bit, and it laughs again. I said, can you please grab my recorder? So she kind of does this jump, pirouette, spin, grab the recorder, jump back into bed.
floor's
And
lava. The floor's
It
lava.
never touched the floor the entire time.
probably
That's
not.
talent.
So I turn it on and I put it on the floor next to the bed, next to me. And we're laying there, nothing else is happening. Well, my wife can pinch the hell out of you with her toes. And she's
What a
aggravating.
treat.
Yeah. So she's aggravating me. And this goes on for a while, and she's not tired, and I'm wore out. And finally, the doorknob starts turning again. She goes, okay, what do you think that is now? I said, well, it's either a burglar or tonight's the night I meet Bob the ghost.
Bob! Hi, I'm
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah, right. So after I said that, between us, this laugh goes again, and I caught it.
No, I'm freaking out. Are you hearing this? The
I,
laugh.
and I actually caught it on the recorder this time. But what's cool that I did not hear it was it sounds like something breathes into the microphone and then starts laughing, like it's
No.
right there. But it's over here on the floor, and she and I are in the bed, and this thing is between us, whatever it was.
No, okay, so there's a difference between catching something on a recorder and not realizing it till later, but the fact that you could hear it in bed with you and it made you want to get the recorder is terrifying.
That's another. Oh my God.
Here,
No.
I'll give you another one.
No, I can't take it. No, go ahead.
Shut up.
Ross, ROHS Opera House in Cynthiana, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay? One of my favorite places to go. That is actually the home of The Walking Dead. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Tell me everything.
Robert Kirkland grew up in Cynthiana, Kentucky, who wrote The Walking Dead. And when you go to the Opera House, oh, I got an itch. ear sweating. And on the side of the Opera House is a 40 by 100-foot mural of Rick Grimes, Michonne, Carl Grimes, and Daryl Dixon.
Oh, of course. Daryl always has to be there. Long live Daryl.
So anyway, a buddy of mine who is actually on the show, who loves ghost hunting, who I'm not going to name. Okay. But I will get me after the show and I'll send you some pictures.
Okay.
All right. He takes my digital recorder and goes up into the loft, which is where the old opera house is. The old wooden seats or bench seats are still there. And he's walking around and he's got the recorder and he's got headphones on. And they're hearing things. So his wife at the time was with him. Next thing I know, he comes flying down to where I am. He goes, listen to this shit. Listen to this. Well, I replay it back, and he is just excited as hell. Play it back, and there's a voice that says, look, such and such is here. And they said his real name. And he's like, did you tell anybody? He goes, did you tell anybody my name? I was like, no.
Holy shit.
Oh my.
To kind of give you an idea, before we did the investigation, they were showing Will Smith Aladdin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I were standing in the lobby, just a little thin lobby to go out. And as people were walking by, they're looking at him like, no way, no. And then everybody left. And then this one girl came back in. And she looks at him and she just faints.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So, anyway,
wow.
That's the cool stuff, and you never know when you're going to get it. If we could
Oh
really
yeah.
get up there and put a thing on saying, okay, we're going to catch this here, we're going to catch
Mhm.
it there. We'd have PhDs about that long behind our
Mhm.
names.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
God, yeah.
you know,
We'd be getting paid a lot more for what we do.
well, we'd be getting paid, period. Uh, but you know, again, we're in it for the right reason. We're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. You know,
Right. And
I,
so do you think so what do you think is like the most misunderstood thing about ghost hunting that the public doesn't understand? Because clearly it's not being recognized in the best ways.
they think what they see on TV is how you do it, and that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Um,
very true.
100%.
you know, part of it, what you see on TV is correct. But like I said, that little non disclaimer on the very beginning of it, this is for entertainment purposes only. That's how they're thought of in making these things. And, you know, like I said, the Booth brothers never went that way because they were independent. And
Right.
that's, and like I said, and I still love Chris and Phil to death. We talk a lot, you know. And if you watch our threads to each other on Facebook and
Mhm.
other places, you'll see we talk to each other a lot.
Yes.
And you know, and plus, if I want them, all I gotta do is pick up the phone, and vice versa. But you know, once the real scientists get involved in this for the right reasons, I
Mm.
think then we're going to start finding more and more
Mhm.
things out. I mean, Einstein was into this really big, heavy, but he died,
Yeah.
you know. And all we are right now are basically data takers,
Mhm.
you know. And people go, well, I want to help them cross over. I'm like, bullshit. They're like, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to catch lightning in a bottle. I want to
Sure.
see what I'm capturing on audio and video. And well, don't you want to help them cross over? No, I'm not a psychic. If I was psychic, I would have ducked when all that crap come flying at my head.
And
You
that's
know,
something that we've said before to each other is that we are here to interact with a spirit that may still be around. We if they're willing to communicate, but we're not here to solve any of their problems
right?
to
That's like I don't even use the term ghost very much anymore because we don't know what this is.
Right.
It's some type
true.
of It's some type of phenomena, but we haven't proven what it is yet.
Right. Yeah. For the amount of decades that this theory has been around, nobody has yet
Mhm.
to prove it. So
Mhm.
You're right, and what people see on TV, especially a couple of these shows where they get possessed at every different place,
oh
uh,
my gosh.
it doesn't happen that way. You know,
No.
you're gonna get up here and debunk more places than you're actually gonna capture something.
Yeah.
And when you capture that 1%, and that's what it is, 1%
Hmm.
of something really truly paranormal, then you're hooked. You know,
Oh yeah.
then
Yeah.
it's in your blood. People said, "Well, do you think we'll ever find out?" I said, "Not in my lifetime." I said, "Maybe not my children's lifetimes." You know,
I
Mhm.
think
uh,
it's kind of up to interpretation at this
well,
point.
you know, that's like, well, what do you think about psychics? And I have been told I am anti-psychic. I'm not anti-psychic. I'm anti-idiot. Plain and
Amen.
simple.
Mhm.
You know, some of my best friends are psychics. Scotty Rourke, Rick Hayes, Chris
Okay.
Fleming. You know, uh, I know that this is how they make their living, but they don't bullshit me, or don't even try to because I'll just look at them and go, really? Come on, you know, change the subject or do something else. But I think they really have a gift. Uh, they have told me a few things that no one else knows, not even my wife.
I was
Uh,
gonna say, yeah. Can you speak on what made you like really feel that they had the gift over
that
others?
that that's it. Because I'm actually a pretty guarded person.
Hmm.
when it comes to my history and stuff, even though a lot of people know my history. Um, but like, and I know a lot of very famous people, and a lot of people try to use that for me to go through me to get to them. But Scotty and Rick aren't like that at all. I've introduced them to some famous people, and they've helped them along the lines. And I've watched what was said and what was told them, and those things have come true on some of this stuff. So but I don't just if you called up and say, "Hey, do you have such and such phone number?" I might say, "Yeah," but I'm not giving it to you
Hmm.
until I say, well, "Let me call them see if they're interested first." You know,
Yeah.
it's their privacy is just as important as mine is.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
You know, but one of the things Scotty has done many many years ago, Scotty heard this story and ran with it, and it became big news. I got sued. I had to go through all kinds of litigation.
Oh shit.
But I still love Scotty to death. Supposedly, I shot a psychic. I did not shoot her. I shot over her head. Okay. All right. We have a place here in Kentucky called Hell's Gate. It's
Oh,
a little country cemetery out in the woods. I know the owners of the place. This famous psychic contacted me and she says, "I'd like to go there. Can you arrange it?" I arranged it.
Mm-hmm.
There's me and one of my guys from the LGHS, Ron. We're waiting for him. It's just an old gravel, muddy road, and we see this 21 passenger white Econo van pulling up. And all these people get out and they're in like brown robes and stuff. And I'm like going, whoa, what the hell is this? Well, then this psychic gets out and she starts walking to me. Now we're in the parking area. You have to walk up the hill to get to this wooded area cemetery. And it's
mm,
just like I said, it's just a little country farm cemetery.
yeah.
Okay. Before she gets to me, I stick my hand out to shake hers, and all of a sudden she hits the ground. She's, "Oh, St. Michael, help me. There's so much dark energy here. Oh, St. Michael, protect us." And this is
Oh
going to,
God.
and she's flopping
Good
around.
golly.
And all these people who were with her, they kneel beside her, put one hand on her, one hand up in the air, and they're chanting. Do you ever see the movie Ghost of Mr. Chicken with Don Knotts?
No.
No, but I want to now.
Well, in the movie, the women walk up to Don Knotts and they put their hand on him and one hand up there and they go, "Tarot, tarot, tarot." That's what I'm looking at.
Oh my gosh.
So
No, I'm
I'm,
out.
I'm like, and she's just going on and on and on about St. Michael, please protect me. And finally, Ron, who was with me, goes, "Dude, what if she really sick or something?" I said, "She gonna fucking die then, because I ain't giving her mouth to mouth." And so it went on a few more minutes, and I said, I've had enough. Like I said, we're in a parking area.
Mm-hmm.
I just took my gun out and went blam in the
Well,
air.
snap out of it, bitch.
And I mean,
Basically.
it was one of those, you know, dead stop.
Like,
And
oh.
yeah,
Oh.
and she just looked at me, didn't say a word, got up, got in the van. All her little disciples got in the van. They started up and off they went. And Ron is with me. He said, "Man, it's the first time I've ever seen a demon run from a 45."
Oh my god.
So, like I said, I'm anti idiot.
Okay, clear. Point made. I hear ya.
But one of the cool things is, years later, once me and my wife started dating, she got talking about. She goes, "By the way, I know you didn't shoot the psychic." And I went, "How do you know?" And she said, "Well," and she's a nurse. She said, "I actually had a patient come in a couple years ago. we got talking about the paranormal, and she liked the paranormal stuff. And he said, "Yeah, I was out." He was a lineman. He was up on a pole above us. I did not know this. And he starts describing me, describing the van, describing these people in brown robes. And he says, and after a few minutes, he goes, he fired his gun in the air. They all got in the van and left. And I was like, well, damn, I wish I'd have known him sooner. He would have helped me in all this litigation I had to fight through.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God. See, that is karma. That is just universal karma coming around and being like, guess what? You're
Yeah.
good.
So it's not all just ghost hunting. Let's go find a ghost.
Mhm.
There's a lot of adventures.
So
Oh.
I know that Ireland is on your bucket list because we
Mhm.
talked about it earlier. Is there a place in Ireland that it's like top tier, you really want to go?
The Highlands, you know.
Yeah.
As he write it down.
She's like, all right, in 2027, we are going to the
Yeah.
Highlands.
Noted.
Ireland and England and Scotland are just so much history.
Mhm.
1,000 years before us, for
So
America.
much.
And that's why I was telling you, if you ever get to England, go over to Chillingham Castle. It's awesome.
That is where my favorite episode of Scariest Places on Earth was filmed.
Yeah. You know how I got there?
How?
You went? Shut up. You've been to Chillingham Castle?
Yeah, 4 or 5 times.
Okay. Subtle
He's
flex.
like, yeah,
Subtle
been
flex.
there.
All right, before all the Lord.
Okay,
Before
wait.
all the-
So can you tell me, is the story about the, I don't want to call it a driveway because that's disrespectful, but the pathway to the exit where they would release prisoners and then the archers would shoot them down, is that true?
supposedly.
That's so disturbing. But that is literally one of the first things I remember about that castle is the story about how they treated the prisoners and how
it wasn't a jail. This was a
right.
stronghold, and it was built in the late 12th into the early 13th century.
Mhm.
The walls are 2.5 feet thick.
A little bit.
Dang.
And
thick with 2 C's.
Yeah. So Fox did a show, and MTV did a show, and I was part of those shows on a couple episodes and stuff. And Chillingham was one of the places I got to go to.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I would piss my pants, but I would love to go there.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's a TV show on AMC right now. The host, him and I have been trying to get together. I was supposed to be on the show twice, and wanting the second time, my wife broke her leg, and they wouldn't let us fly. So that
okay, yeah, no, you don't need to fly. That's fine.
Yeah, well, I had to fly. It was Italy, in the mountains of Italy.
She broke her leg in Italy?
No, she broke it here in Louisville.
They were supposed to go to Italy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4 days before we were supposed to leave, and and she broke it so bad they had to put 31 screws in and metal plates, and she had her surgery, and the doctors and the insurance company for the film production company said, ain't happening. But anyway, the host of the show and the executive producers wanted the same, and he wanted to go do Jack the Ripper, and I'm like, dude, it's nothing like it was back in the 1800s. And he says, what do you mean? So I sent him a bunch of pictures of the last time I was over there, and he said, oh yeah, we can't go riding around on this, can we? I was like, no. So I said, you gotta go to Romania, go to Paneri. He said, yeah, we could ride through the woods. I said, no, you can't. this isn't woods. This is full blown forest. And I said, you'd never get a bike up there. I said, he says, well, are there steps? I said, yeah, 2,100. You know,
Just a couple.
yeah,
You'll make your day's goal.
yeah. So, well, last time I went, I just had a heart attack. So every 10 steps, I was
Oh
throwing up.
my
Uh,
God.
I was throwing up every 10, 15 feet. But then I said, you got to go to Chillingham. And he's like, tell me about Chillingham. I started telling him, and he's like, yeah, yeah. And I said, you want Sir Rodney? I said, do you want Sir Rodney's phone number? Said, yeah. So I think they filmed one episode over there.
Huh.
Oh my
So,
Lanta.
with us being new investigators, what is one piece of equipment that you would say we have to absolutely have when we're investigating?
Okay, like I said, I am not psychic in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's only been 3 places where I've been to in my career where the hair stood up on the back of my neck. And one of them was the Little Bighorn, Custer's Last Stand, when I stepped out onto the field. The
Ooh.
other was the Exorcist house because we were the first ones to film there. The minute I walked through the door, the hair on the back of my neck just stood up.
That's
And
in
the other,
Maryland?
no, it's in Missouri.
The original Exorcist house is in Missouri?
Yeah,
Oh my word. Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm uneducated. Forgive me.
No, that's all right. Go check out our documentary called The Haunted Boy. It's streaming.
Yes, no,
Okay.
I have that yet listed. I do.
Okay. All right. And then the last place was Round Top up at Gettysburg.
I was going to ask if you had gone to Gettysburg. Okay.
I don't know how many times, but a lot. Uh, and my wife, who is empathic, first time I took her up there, she's like, why am I seeing rats and rocks? I said, because the Union were pinned down right here for several days. They had no supplies, no nothing, but they ate the rats. They kill them with rocks. They had no
Oh my
bullets.
gosh.
That's how they survived. So anyway, just little things like that. But back to your question, the thing I love using the most is thermal. It is science. It's science that works, and infrared. I love it too. And the prices for infrared cameras have gone down so much. It's not silly. And if you're going to use a recorder, get a Zoom. Real simple. They've got down to where they're now under $100. Zoom has got the best microphones, bar none. And plus, they have levels on them you can turn up or down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And, so those 3 pieces of equipment, are just. I was getting ready to pick up. I was playing with a Zoom H6 here earlier, and I put it up. You know, and that's mostly what I use. And the other thing is your brain, common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Don't walk into a place going, "Yep, this place is so haunted. I'm going to get great evidence." Yeah, you're going to think you get great evidence. Houses creak and crack, especially old ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at those orbs. Well, look at that dust.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're having a bonfire out here. Look at all these wandering souls leaving the bonfire. It's embers.
It's embers.
It's natural. Give it a break.
Yeah.
So, if you could, Keith, investigate anywhere in the world that you haven't already, because you clearly have an extensive list, anywhere you haven't been yet, where would it be? But why do you want to go there?
Honestly, like I said, the only thing that's left on my bucket list is Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about Mackinac Island. I have never gotten to investigate it. I'd really like to go there one day.
What's the
Yeah.
history of that?
It's in up by New York. Did you ever see? As I was asking her, did you ever see the movie Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour?
Gosh, no, sir.
Great movie. Came out in 1981.
Mm.
Uh, it was filmed there, and you have to take a ferry over to the island. There are no cars. You either walk, ride a horse carriage,
Mm-hmm.
or you ride a bicycle. And the Grand Hotel was built back in the early 1800s, and it is still grand. And there's a lot of things happening there. Uh, what was the last show I saw something on it? Expedition X. They went there
Okay.
with they brought in the oh God, what are the brothers? Black Black brothers.
Oh gosh.
Dalen and Jawan. I can't think of their names right now. I'm sorry.
I'm so bad with names.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I can't help you.
I can't help you. I'm so
yeah.
sorry.
But they got to have the whole island to investigate. They didn't just do the hotel. They actually did houses and stuff. And it was really pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
That's like
it's
another level.
yeah, and that's before Heather joined as the female cast member.
Huh.
But I'm gonna see Heather next month. So yeah.
And
Awesome.
one final question. Is
I
there
didn't
a
I didn't do it, and I didn't know it was the mayor's daughter.
I know you knew.
Pleading the fifth. We hear it.
Is there any place in the world that you would tell people to avoid at all costs?
Ooh.
Again, like I said, I ain't got enough brain cells to do that. Um,
Just to be like, hey, like, you know what? This has got bad energy. Maybe don't visit.
I don't feel those type of things. The
No.
thing that I get up here and push upon is don't go somewhere you're not invited.
Okay.
Well said.
It's like people want to go up to Zombie Road so much. Well, it's a national park, and after we did with, Zombie Road, everybody and their brother kept trying to go up there. Well, you have to get a permit to go up there from the police. And they arrested a lot of people. Like I
That's
said,
kind of like Dudley Town here in Connecticut,
Mhm.
where a lot of people, like everybody has been told, stay away. You cannot go on there. It's not legal, but yet people will still try to go and they get
Mhm.
arrested.
oh yeah, well that's just like up in Ohio, this quote haunted house of the town. Kids kept going up and knocking on the door and running away. And then one night somebody kicked that door in and they got killed because the guy was standing on the other side with a shotgun protecting his house.
Of
Which
course.
he has every right to do.
Yeah,
Yes. Especially if he's been being harassed by little shits.
right. So, and then I've got a call once, 5 o'clock in the morning, some podunk little sheriff from Podunk Town called me and says, "Hey, is this Keith Age?" And I'm like, "Yes, sir." And he says, "I've got 25 of your people in my jail." And I went, "What?" I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, they said you told them to be here." And I went,
Oh my gosh.
"I have no idea what you're talking about." Click.
Yeah. 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 We don't deal with idiots.
Like I
Wow.
said, anti-idiot. Yeah.
Anti-idiot. Oh my God. I love that. We need to make a shirt.
Yeah.
Wow. That is, holy cow. This has been quite an incredible interview, I have to say.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed myself.
Oh, thank you.
Y'all are fun.
We
We
try.
do try.
Well, it was awesome having you on, and I hope we hear more from you and see more from you.
Yeah. All you gotta do is get a hold of me, and I'll send you some pictures here when we get done.
That would be
Yes.
awesome.
Please, thank you so much.
Well,
Oh
we're
my
not
gosh.
you and I are not friends on Facebook, but me and her are.
I win.
That's okay. So she is me. I am her. Anything that she does is through like we are the same person.
Well,
We ended up with a pimple on the same side of our face this week. So
that's
yeah,
why I
like
said I'll send her the pics and she can send them to you.
wonderful. Thank you, Keith, so much for giving us your time and your intuition and your knowledge. This has been an absolutely epic interview. We appreciate you so much.
Again, thank you. I had fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right.
Ah.
Bye.
Bye.